Today's AI models do not just answer questions. They can generate new hypotheses, design experiments, write the code, run the tests, analyze the results, and decide what to investigate next. In other words, AI is beginning to automate something we once considered uniquely human: the process of scientific discovery itself. For decades, AI have been a powerful tool for scientists. AlphaFold, for example, it helped predict the structure of proteins, but that is like giving the master chef a sharper knife. It makes the work faster, but the chef still creates the recipe. Now, we are seeing the first AI systems that attempt to become the main drivers of scientific discoveries. These so-called AI scientists can take a vague research idea and turn it into experiments, results, and even a finished scientific paper, with surprisingly little human intervention. But here's the question: are they actually doing science, or are they simply producing work that looks scientific? For context, I have been an academic myself for more than 12 years. I did a master and a PhD, I was a lecturer, and consequently, I am very curious about this development. So, after consulting multiple sources, I want to share with you my learnings and also my opinion to help you understand how AI scientists actually work. How close are they to matching human researchers, where they still fail, and why they could fundamentally change how humanity discovers new knowledge. So, let's dive in. Now, how can we build an AI that can do science? Well, everything is converging towards this idea of the AI agent that operates as an AI scientist. And to be clear, it is not a single model, but a pipeline of agents working all together. Here's the framework. It starts with an idea. The AI is prompted with a broad research area, like machine learning, for example. It then brainstorms dozens of high-level research questions, and the hard part is making sure it doesn't reinvent the wheel. In order to do so, it connects to online scientific databases like Semantic Scholar or Google Scholar to check if its ideas are actually new. If an idea is too similar to existing work, then it is discarded. For instance, after checking the literature, it might land on a novel hypothesis like can adding a type of noise to training data improve a model's performance on blurry images, for example. This could be an hypothesis. And once it has a novel idea, the real work begins. The key here is to think of the AI not as a single genius, but as an incredibly efficient research manager. It directs a team of specialized AI agents to handle different tasks. There is a librarian agent to check existing work. There is a coder agent to write experiments, and a debugger agent to fix the inevitable mistakes. The manager's job is to coordinate them all in a process called the experiment and refine loop. And this loop is like exploring a giant dark forest. Instead of just picking one path, the AI manager sends scouts down many paths at once using a method called a tree search. The coder agent generates code to test its hypothesis, but code often has bugs, and when an experiment fails, the AI gets the error message and passes it to the specialized debugger agent. The debugger tries to fix the code and the experiment runs again. This is why it is a loop. And this process creates, a tree of possibilities. Some branches are dead ends in the tree. for example, unfixable bugs. Others are successful experiments. The AI automatically prioritizes the most promising branches, like a gardener pruning a tree to help the strongest part to grow. It even automates the boring parts, like tuning hyperparameters, which are the core settings that control the AI's or the machine learning process. Finally, after all the experiments are done, the AI gathers its nodes, data, and plots. It feeds all of these into a final AI agent whose job is to write a complete scientific paper, formatted in LaTeX, just like a human researcher would do, complete with an introduction section, the methods, the results, and even the correct citations. But in the end, as we know, a research paper is just a paper. So the question is, how can we test the quality of AI-generated science? We have today peer review. This is the best we have. It's kind of the ultimate test for an AI, and if it can pass it, then it means that the science is good enough, considering that the review was properly made by human scientists who are experts in the field. And this could be like the Turing test for the AI scientists. Researchers have done this exactly. With permission from a major AI conference, they submitted 3 papers fully generated by the AI scientists to a formal peer review process. The human reviewers were told that some submissions might be AI generated, but they didn't know which one. It was a blind test. The results were fascinating. Actually, 2 of the papers were rejected. They had many flaws or underdeveloped ideas or bugs in the experiments. But 1 paper was accepted. It received a score of 6, 7, and 6 from 3 different human experts. And those scores were high enough to place it in the top half of all submissions. The AI had technically successfully navigated the human peer review process. Now, here's the part that I find most interesting. The paper that got accepted wasn't some flashy, groundbreaking success. It was a negative result. It reported on an idea that basically didn't work. And this is incredibly important because science is not just about finding what works. It is about rigorously mapping the landscape of what it doesn't. This suggests the AI isn't just a hype machine. It is capable of doing the careful, sometimes disappointing work of real science. Now, for the caveats, this was a conference workshop which has a higher acceptance rate, like about 70%, which is higher than many good conferences, where, in the good conference, it is closer to 30%. So the AI isn't yet producing work at the level of the world's top human scientists, for now. And this brings us to a much bigger idea, recursive self-improvement. Check out the previous video I made about it on this channel. I will leave you the link in the description down below. Well, the core idea is that, if an AI can conduct AI research on its own, the question is, could it discover new ways to make itself smarter? Because, if the AI that designs the experiments get better, the experiments get better. If the AI that writes the code gets better, the code also gets better. Each improvement could feed back into the system, creating a loop of accelerating progress. Like, for example, imagine the AI's debugger agent. After fixing 1,000 different coding errors, it might learn a new pattern about what causes bugs. It could then update the original coder agent to avoid making the specific type of errors in the future. And that is one small turn of the flywheel, where one part of the system teaches another how to be better. We are not there yet, but this is the long-term vision. And of course, the technology comes with the serious risk. What happens when anyone can generate hundreds of plausible-looking scientific papers in a day? It could overwhelm the peer reviews system with a lot of noise. It could be used to inflate credentials or even to automate the search for dangerous dual-use technologies. Developing norms and safeguards for this is a critical next step. But the potential upside is just as massive. Pause for a moment yourself and ask, what would it mean for climate science or medicine or materials discovery if we could run 1 million thoughtful experiments a day instead of in a dozen days? This same automated approach could be connected to robotics labs for chemistry or biology, which will accelerate research in the physical world as well. We are at the very beginning of this new paradigm, of course, but it's very exciting. So let's step back. We have seen AI evolve from a tool for scientists to a collaboration. Now we are witnessing the dawn of the autonomous AI scientist, a system that can ideate, experiment, analyze, and write. A system that has already, in a limited setting, passed the ultimate test, the blind peer review by human experts. We are not at the point of replacing human scientists, at least not yet. The system still has a lot of flaws, and it cannot make the great conceptual leaps that define scientific genius. For example, there is not an AI at the level of Albert Einstein at the moment, but the trajectory is clear. The nature of discovery is completely changing. So the next time you hear about a new AI model, don't just ask what it can do. Ask, how could it learn to do that better by itself? And that is the question that will define the next decade of science, I think. And if you want to stay on top of how AI is changing our world, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Have a good day and see you in the next one. Bye.